Okay, so perhaps can you start by giving us a bit of a high-level view on value stream management, a bit about what it is, and I guess why it's relevant to the DevOps market at the moment?
Sure, that's a great place to start, Phil. Thanks. You know, the first real definition of value stream management that I ever saw was from Forrester, and that's a good place to start, because what they say is that it's a combination of people, process, and technology, which of course is everything in the DevOps world, is people, process, and technology that maps, optimizes, visualizes, and governs the business value flow. And that flow includes everything from the epics and user stories all the way through the work items and the artifacts that are delivered. That's managing and governing that flow all the way through the delivery pipeline. And it focuses on pipelines that are made up of multiple different tools and multiple different methodologies. And I think that's where the magic is, Phil. I think the magic is that it is inclusive of all of the development methodologies and styles that a particular organization might be using. And it brings all that together so that it can be managed as a system, as one thing, as a value stream. So the management of that is that layer that sits on top of all the tools, all the processes, all the manual steps, all the automated steps, all the things that might be in the cloud, all the things that are transforming into the cloud or into containers and some of the newer technologies, as well as inclusive of things that might be being built on the mainframe or in older methodologies, particularly in the kind of companies that we're talking about. And those companies are not the unicorns of the tech age that started in software and perfected software delivery at scale using modern technologies. These are companies that have been around for literally hundreds of years in some cases, that have systems and tools that are, you know, have been around a while, that they've depended on. And as they transition, they've got to manage those and manage the movement into new techniques and new software tools. And that's the magic of value stream management, is that it sits over on top of that, manages it, gives you the visibility and the opportunity to improve your processes and therefore deliver better, more efficient business value to your customers.
Okay, and in terms of perhaps breaking that down into some of its constituent parts, I'm guessing that communications, you've got a lot of people maybe from the marketing, or even the boardroom and the marketing people that come up with an idea, tell the DevOps team, go away, do this. So you've got a lot of people involved in that process. So communication is important, and we're currently in a coronavirus pandemic, which hopefully we won't see the like of again, but collaboration, I guess, communication, collaboration, where people are maybe in remote, you know, from each other, rather than being in the office where they can just ask each other questions. So if that's not too sort of complicated a question, can you perhaps address that for us?
Sure. Well, you know, first of all, the essence of it is the requirement for communication and collaboration in a software development process, and the complexities that are thrown at solving that problem by current state of affairs in the world. And I think that that's extremely relevant to the topic of value stream management. I mean, I think, you know, when everybody found themselves at home, and every listener in this podcast appreciates the fact that they're now at home and they rely on things like Slack, they rely on Zoom conferencing, where I used to be able to, you know, drop by your office and sit in the conference room. Now we have to schedule, and it's a different world. And so tools that allow me to collaborate obviously make my life easier. And I think everybody feels that. When you go into a software development environment, that problem is complicated by multiple orders of magnitude, because you've got not just the communication of coordinating among a team, but the collaboration among the software pieces that go into making an application. So if I'm delivering an application, we'll use a banking application, something on your mobile device. Maybe it's a new check cashing or peer-to-peer banking app that the banking system is coming out with. And that development is going on in that financial institution. There's obviously a component of that that's on my phone. There's a component of that that's managing the communication and the security and the login and the two-factor authentication that's going on with that connection. There's my account information in the back end. You get the idea. There's lots of pieces, and they touch a lot of different kinds of systems. The backend database of my account records might be on a mainframe somewhere, whereas obviously the application I'm communicating with is on my phone in my home. So I've got to manage all that. So it's more than just saying, hey, Phil, how's it going? It's understanding that the capabilities required in one piece of software are being delivered by the dependency that is associated with that application. So the database has to be aware of the changes that are being made on my iPhone so that it can manage that transaction appropriately. And I've got to, when I roll it out to my customer who's expecting the value and the better user experience of looking at their phone and using that, when I deliver that to them, I have to make sure all those pieces come out at the same time, that they've all conformed to the compliance issues associated with banking applications, the security requirements associated, the governance of best practice. And on top of all that, I've got to deliver it when the customer expects it or wants it, or I may find that they get tired of waiting and they leave. So I do all that great development work and they've already left because it took me too long. I've got all those pressures of governance, compliance, speed, efficiency, quality, security, all that going on. And a lot of that's being done by tools themselves. I've got automated deployment capabilities, automated configuration and build scenarios. I might be using the cloud. So I've got a lot of things going on manually, and I've got things that are going on or in an automated fashion, and I've got things going on manually. I might have a vulnerability check that I have to call a security group over. If I haven't embedded those things in the process, what will happen? I'll be waiting. Without proper collaboration, things won't get done when they should in order to avoid delays. So if that back-end application that my banking app on my iPhone is expecting to see is delayed, I can't release it. So that's a failure in the development process to properly collaborate and communicate status in such a way that they can meet at the deployment plan and deliver value at the time that the customer expects. The complicated development processes in software are complicated. And when we're talking about large enterprises as we are, the overlay of third-party requirements of compliance, governance, security, that sort of thing is a critical component. With the virus and the pandemic, that's launched us into another order of misdirection. So we were already going to autonomous teams, the team that was building the app, the team that's back building the database, for example. We'd already done that. Now those teams are individuals at home. So now I've got remote teammates working on remote teams. Now the notion of governance and collaboration and status and understanding is that much more difficult. So it underscores the importance of having a system that provides that collaboration and communication. Because before, where it was, gee, that sounds important, Bob, but companies were doing workarounds, you might say, by being able to run around the office and look you in the eye and overcome some of maybe the failures in the process. Now that I can't do that, that requirement for a system such as we're talking for a value stream management system is now not a nice to have, but a must have. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the interest in this kind of solution just skyrocket. And that's been fascinating to watch. And I don't think it's going to be over when the pandemic is over. We've seen lots of studies. Gartner did a study that said 74% of their enterprise clients had indicated that they would have a expanded work from home policy of some sort, spanning from 100% work at home to some hybrid model. Google just announced here in California that employees would be working from home until middle of 2021, so for another year. So I think we're in this for a while, and we have to solve this problem. So value stream management is a timely evolution of technology that will come to bear to help solve the software delivery problems that are existing in today's world.